Good afternoon, town meeting members. My name is Julie Jacobson, town manager here in Auburn, and I'm here to present to you our annual town meeting report that I generally give to the town meeting members at the start of town meeting. I just wanted to let you know I am recording this inside the Board of Selectmen room by myself with one other person who is socially distanced, Chris Hugo, so we can put this on our website. So I am going to remove my mask, but I did put it on to just remind everybody that it's critically important for all of us to follow the state guidelines, follow the governor's orders, and make sure that you wear masks at all times where you cannot properly social distance. So with that being said, I want to get started with the presentation. This year, due to coronavirus, or so-called COVID-19, we will be running our town meeting much differently than we have in the past. I know most of you, if not all of you, have already received phone calls from our office verifying with you that, number one, you can attend on June 2nd, which it has been rescheduled to, and it will be outside on the football field at the high school. If it rains on June 2nd, we will move it to June 3rd, which is a Wednesday, and if it happens to rain on Wednesday also, we'll move it to June 4th, which is a Thursday. We will space people on the football field in 6-foot minimum spacing between the chairs. And for those who are unable to get onto the football field due to any type of disability or any other health concerns, we will make arrangements for you to be able to participate from your car parked beside the field. By now, all of you should have received the phone calls regarding this. We will be mailing out the warrant package this week with a letter to all of our town meeting members explaining all of the precautions and measures we've put into place to ensure the safety of our town meeting members, our employees, and all of those who may attend town meeting this year. So with that being said, everything is in the letter to you as well as the phone calls that we've made, so I'm going to move on to the first part of the town meeting. I will not be presenting at town meeting in the interest of keeping the meeting as short as we possibly can. Myself, Ed Kazanovich, the Assistant Town Manager, CFO, and Dr. Mary Ellen Brunel, the School Superintendent, will all be taping and showing our presentations online. We will also mail you hard copies, so you'll have them. Please bring them with you to the town meeting when you come that evening. So without further ado, I'm going to move on to the presentation. This year, as I said, is extremely different, and I can't start any town meeting presentation without talking to you about coronavirus and COVID-19 and everything that has changed in all of our lives as a result of it. I'm going to specifically talk about what's going on here in town with regard to town administration. So I have a number of bullet items here. I'm not going to read every one of them, but if you'd like to go through the presentation and read it, you may, but I just want to briefly talk about the timeline. Since March 2nd, town administration began focusing on developing and implementing measures to address COVID-19 and curb the spread in the Auburn community. On March 10th, the governor declared a state of emergency. The World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a worldwide pandemic on March 11th. The town closed all municipal buildings to the public on March 13th through April 7th, which was the original date of the governor's stay-at-home order. On March 15th, the governor issued an order requiring all K-12 schools to close from March 16th to April 7th. On March 19th, as town manager, I declared a local state of emergency. We closed all playgrounds to the public, and the Board of Health declared a public health emergency on March 20th. The town created a page on our website, and hopefully many of you have seen it, specifically for COVID-19 information and access to available resources. In addition to our website, we post updates on a regular basis regarding state and local news regulations on our social media pages, website, and ACTV. On March 23rd, Governor Baker issued an Essential Services order, which was the order requiring all businesses and organizations that do not provide COVID-19 essential services to close their physical workplaces and facilities to workers, customers, and the public as of Tuesday, March 24th at noon until Tuesday, April 7th. On March 23rd, town administration implemented a new staffing schedule to remain in effect until the governor's order expires. March 24th, the State Department of Public Health announced a stay-at-home advisory. On March 25th, the governor extended the order for all K-12 schools to remain closed until May 4th. Continuing on this timeline, effective March 30th, In addition to playgrounds remaining closed to the public in Auburn, town administration closed all town basketball and tennis courts as well. Our parks remain open to the public with the understanding that the public will follow all state orders. On March 31st, Governor Baker issued an order extending the essential services order from April 7th to May 4th. The town then extended the closure of all public buildings to May 4th, consistent with the governor's extended stay-at-home order. We also revisited and revised our staffing plan to continue to redirect resources to those areas of greatest need while maintaining our continuity of operations. On April 2nd, I issued an executive order to employees on work schedules, which defined the conditions and procedures under which employees would be required to follow when assigned to work at home, as well as those requirements that they should follow and procedures when working in the office and municipal buildings. Even though we are closed to the public, we have remained a full-service operation, providing the public services remotely. On April 8th, town administration announced the launch of a new coronavirus initiative called Auburn Cares, which stands for Community Assistance Relief Effort Strategy. This is a coordinated effort of town administration to provide outreach and assistance to our vulnerable populations and to those severely impacted by the COVID-19 public health crisis. Auburn Cares consists of 2 outreach and assistance programs, Our Seniors Matter and the Auburn Connection. Our Seniors Matter identifies phone numbers and enabled town employees working together with school department employees to call some 5,000 seniors aged 60 and over to check on them regularly and to guide them to qualified staff who can provide technical and referral assistance to them and link those seniors with available resources. The second part of this Auburn Cares program is the Auburn Connection. Through the program, we established a telephone hotline, which is 508-832-CARE or 2273, for residents of all ages to call with non-emergency COVID-related inquiries or concerns. Employees connect those in need with available resources similar to the senior program. This includes state assistance programs, food pantries, meal programs, utility information, and contact information for other support agencies and organizations. This line is staffed every day from 8 to 2 p.m. Monday through Friday. Going back to the timeline, on April 21st, the governor extended the closure of all public and private schools through to the end of the school year, and he extended the closure of all non-emergency child care programs until June 29th. On April 22nd, town administration implemented a self-certification form for all employees in non-public safety departments coming into their municipal buildings to ensure that the health and safety of our employees is protected to the degree that we can. Town administration and the school department has collaborated on many of these initiatives. School nurses are working with our Board of Health and our public health nurse to track and monitor COVID-19 positive residents. Teachers and other school department employees are working on Our Seniors Matter program. That's, again, the program where we contact up to 5,000 seniors aged 60 and over. And we've had several teachers volunteer to sew hundreds of masks for our town employees. All of these, they are great collaborative efforts. It really shows that working together, town administration and the school department can accomplish much. On April 28th, the Baker-Polito administration extended the Essential Services Emergency Order to May 18th and launched a reopening advisory board that would produce a plan to the governor by May 18th. Today, as I am taping this, is May 18th, and shortly, about an hour ago, Governor Baker announced his reopening plan for the state. You can find all of that at the state's website on COVID-19 at mass.gov. I was appointed to a 12-member reopening advisory committee that was established at the request of the Lieutenant Governor through to the Mass Municipal Association. And we have been meeting on a regular basis, remotely of course, to provide recommendations to the Baker-Polito administration and advisory board on municipal operations. On May 6th, the governor issued his face covering order, which actually became effective on May 6th. On May 7th, he announced that golf courses may open following the state-imposed restrictions. As a result, our golf course, the Packagug Golf Course, opened at 1 p.m. on May 7th, the same date the governor announced that we would be allowed to reopen. Town administration anticipates the statewide reopening plan that was announced today, and we are working on our own reopening plan for municipal offices to coincide with the governor's 4-phase approach. The town's reopening plan will complement and coincide with this state plan, and we will make sure that we incorporate all safety and health precautions necessary to ensure the safety of our employees and the health and welfare of the residents and businesses in Auburn while providing a continuity of municipal services. So stay tuned on that. By the time we have this town meeting on June 2nd, I'm sure you will have seen the posted reopening plan. So what are the impacts of COVID-19 on Auburn, specifically town administration? We anticipate, although we do not know yet, a decrease in state aid. We anticipate a reduction in state and federal grant programs. We anticipate potential 9C cuts, which are statewide cuts to existing programs in FY20. And again, the state has not announced any of this yet, but these are all anticipated potential fiscal impacts on the town. We absolutely know that we will have a decline in local receipts. Real estate taxes, excise taxes, hotel motel taxes, and meals taxes. All of this due to COVID-19, the closure of certain businesses, particularly our hospitality industry, as well as the fiscal situation with our residents, many of whom may not be able to pay their real estate taxes. We have seen an increase in our expenditures due to COVID-19 related activities. This includes increase in overtime, additional shifts, PPE, which we all know the acronym now is personal protective equipment, and various facility upgrades that we've had to put into place and will continue to put into place in Town Hall and our other public offices to make sure that the public and our employees are safe. This includes plexiglass, marked lines. We also have a kiosk at Town Hall that we'll be using to provide services to the public outside. We also anticipate canceling many town and programs, many recreation programs, as well as upcoming events such as the Independence Day celebration event and our summer concert series, all due to the federal CDC guidelines for limiting group sizes, as well as the current state guidelines for limiting them under 10. So we will be forthcoming with those announcements shortly. Lastly, we anticipate a special town meeting that we will probably have to hold late this summer to address any needed FY21 budget amendments. So the budget that you're going to see tonight from Assistant Town Manager and CFO Ed Kazanovich is the budget that had been prepared prior to COVID-19. We did not make any adjustments to the budget right now because we don't know the extent of those impacts and what those adjustments will have to be. We're hoping that we will know more from the state and from the federal government as the summer months move on, and as we do have a better understanding and a grasp of what our revenue shortages may be, we anticipate coming back at a special town meeting to address the FY21 budget and make those changes. What measures have we put into place in town administration to mitigate these budgetary impacts? We implemented an immediate FY 2020, which is the current fiscal year, spending freeze. We implemented an immediate FY 2020 hiring freeze. We are currently examining revenue and budgetary impacts for FY 2020, along with the school department. We've requested each department provide a 2.75% reduction to their FY 21 budgets. We will not know if we have to implement that at this point, if 2.75 will be enough, and if we'll have to implement all of that, but we are working on that currently. We're reviewing our FY21 and FY22 CIP, which is, as you know, it's a 5-year plan. We're looking at the next 2 years for possible delays in the implementation and purchase of any capital items on that plan. Once more information is received, again, we anticipate holding a special town meeting and we'll make budget adjustments at that time. So that's enough about COVID-19. Let's move on to the remainder of the presentation, which really highlights for you the 2019 year in review, what was accomplished, and again, most of this prior to COVID-19, although our operations have continued internally. While we're working on COVID-19 related measures, we also are still working on everything that we have to do every day as part of our operations in all departments. So for those of you who may be new town meeting members, welcome. And for those town meeting members who have been here before, you've probably seen this, so I apologize that you're going to see this again. But it's always important to let the town meeting members know where their tax dollars are being spent. So here is a list. I'm not going to go through it, but here is a list that pretty much covers all of the departments and tasks and responsibilities of the town. All of the tax dollars go into implementing programs and services amongst these different categories. What are the highlights of the past year? We maintained our Standard & Poor's bond rating of AA+. We increased free cash, excess levy, our stabilization fund, and our reserve levels. More on that to come. Collective bargaining, we have 10 units on the town side. All 10 at this point have been settled. I want to bring to your attention a couple of changes that we made in the collective bargaining agreements, or CBAs, that have a monetary impact on the town to the positive. And I want to thank all of our employees and unions for working with us on this. First of all, the non-union employees, which are called bylaw employees, we have a revised sick leave policy that we implemented starting in July 1, 2019. We reduced their sick leave accruals by 3 days annually. So instead of accruing 15 days, they will accrue 12 days. We implemented a 2% payment for all new employees starting 2019, and I need to make a change to this. It does say 2020, but I will change that to 2019. So as of last year, all new employees that were hired that were not union employees were paying 2% into an OPEB trust fund. Now, to go on to the union side of it, we've reduced their sick leave by 3 days for all unions, whether it's through their accrued or the sick bank contributions. We implemented a 2% employee OPEB contribution for up to 10 years for most of our unions. There are a couple of nuances between the contracts, but that's generally for most of the union employees. And all employees are now having a reduced employer health insurance contribution. The town was paying 76% and the employee was paying 24%. Now the employee pays 25% and the town pays 75%. It was a 1% shift. Our FY20 budget was well under Proposition 2.5 limits again. Our cumulative savings to taxpayers, because we've continued to tax under Prop 2.5, is $28,555,228 since 2011. We signed, the Board of Selectmen signed a local initiative project agreement for the Blaker Street Affordable Housing Development, which will enable us to work with the developer on this 40B project, and hopefully negotiate some items that would be beneficial to the residents of the community. ACE Solar worked with the school department and town administration, and we now have a pilot agreement at the Auburn Middle School and Auburn High School for roof-mounted solar panels. The redevelopment of the Mary D. Stone School is moving forward with the developer securing state and federal financing and tax credits of over $18 million. So tonight on the town meeting warrant, you will see 3 articles that are critical to this moving forward. They are easements for the Mary D. Stone property, which enable the developer, Penrose Properties, to put in additional handicap space and landscape their property while having to access that from the town side of the property. The third easement would be an easement that we would be granted from Penrose to pass and repass over the driveway that goes from the town hall parking lot down toward the field. So those who are handicapped and using our field and our playground can still go down there and utilize those spaces. The Julia Bancroft School applications are next in the pipeline for state and federal funding over the next year. We were hoping that project would proceed along the same lines as the Mary D. Stone, again with state and federal financing situations right now unknown. We don't know what impact COVID-19 will have on those programs, but if these programs are allowed to move forward, then we assume Julia Bancroft will move forward with it as well. The Senior Tax Work-Off Program was revised this year through the Board of Selectmen to allow for participation of more seniors. Work continued on our public safety facilities feasibility study, and a committee had been established during the last year, and the committee put a lot of work into that. The Faith Avenue legislation was passed, and that allowed the town to have a so-called land swap with the owner to rebuild the Faith Ave section, and it makes it much better now for public safety and public works. The trash collection system internally was restructured, and we are in the process of analyzing and awarding a contract to the next trash hauler for the coming period of 5 years. We issued an RFP for the Historical Museum operations in our town-owned School Street building. And the Auburn Historic Society, again, was awarded a 10-year lease. That lease began in January of 2020. Town meeting approved a plastic bag ban, and per a vote of the residents in May of 2019, and in October of 19, the town meeting approved it, and then in January of 2020, the Attorney General approved it. The Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan, which is called a SEMP plan, we worked on all year, and that was also completed in January of 2020. That's available on our website. Our master plan was completed in December of 2019. That was a close to 4-year process to complete it, so we want to thank everybody for their work on that. The bylaw revisions and new bylaws, we had a number of them go through town meeting last year. We had some that were going to go on the warrant for the annual town meeting this year, but in the interest of time and trying to keep the town meeting as short as possible in June, we've put those off until a fall town meeting or after. And we did receive state earmarks for the Drury Square infrastructure project of $50,000, and we received design guideline grant for Drury Square and a proposed facade improvement program. A few other things, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I would just say that our roadway reconstruction program continued. We spent $1.5 million in 2019. That's a combination of state and local dollars to keep our roads reconstructed and in good condition as part of our 20-year project. We received the Complete Streets Program designation, and we received a prioritization plan grant. As soon as this plan is approved, we're then eligible to apply for up to $400,000 in Complete Streets. We also constructed a new DPW facility maintenance garage, workshop, and office. We had our sewer legislation act that was revised by the legislature to allow us to reduce the advertising requirements, which saves thousands of dollars every time we have to make any type of change to a bylaw. Our LED retrofit project that began in June of 2019 was completed in March, and that we expect about $50,000 in energy savings on an annual basis. We also finished our MVP Community Resilience Building Workshop plan and designation, and we then applied for a public water supply protection grant in the amount of $145,000, which we're thrilled that we did get. And while I'm on the topic of grants, just wanted to mention that our FY20 grants, we've applied for 26, totaling approximately $1.88 million. We received 22 of those grants, totaling a little over $1.2 million. Moving on to financial management. We continue to adhere to our written financial policies that have been prepared by town administration, approved by the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee. We continue conservative budgeting with our 5-year CIP, our 5-year facility improvement plan. We also continue our 5-year long-range budget forecasting. Ongoing health insurance reforms, I just mentioned a couple of those that we negotiated this year. We have a very strong health trust fund. We remain committed to building our reserves and addressing our long-term liabilities, such as OPEB. Again, some of these may be changed a little bit over the next fiscal year, given the COVID-19 fiscal concerns that we have, but our long-term goal still remains to address our long-term liabilities. We aggressively pursue grants. I just mentioned what some of those grants were. And we also will continue our prudent use of free cash under the free cash policies that we have. So just want to show you how we have increased our reserves. As I mentioned, we have saved over $28 million to the public by not taxing to Proposition 2.5. Those reserves continue to be increased. They are made up of undesignated fund balance in our stabilization fund. And as you can see, we right now are at the 28.54%. We've increased our free cash. Our free cash certification for the current fiscal year, FY20 that came out, for FY19 that came out in the fall of 19 was $13.9 million. We've continued to make contributions into our OPEB trust fund. The OPEB trust fund now is up to $5.173 million. That does not include interest earned since January of this year. Our health expendable trust, we are a self-insured health trust, remains extremely healthy. Moving toward economic development. The DCG this year reviewed approximately 45 projects or licenses in 2019. We have continued many of the initiatives related to Drury Square, including a wayfinding and branding program that will be unveiled shortly. It was put off due to the COVID-19. We will be presenting that to the public shortly. We completed our design guidelines for Drury Square. We applied for a DTLA grant, which will help us to develop a conceptual redesign plan for Goddard Park, and that project is currently underway with the CMRPC. We've continued to work with Penrose, as I mentioned, on the school redevelopment projects. Both of those are going to be 55 units of affordable senior housing. And we have continued to review our zoning to make recommendations where we consider there could be barriers or inconsistencies in the zoning, and trying to make the zoning more applicable to today's types of industries. Business development, again, I don't want to go through it, but I want to show town meeting members what types of activity we had in 2019. So you can see on the left side the recently completed projects. On the right side, those projects that are underway, as well as those projects that are proposed. We continued, as I mentioned, our multi-year roadway improvement program, and this chart shows you the breakdown of funding that goes into that program every year on top of the state Chapter 90 funds. These are just a couple of slides on the various departments that we have. It's probably important for the new town meeting members to see all the different programs and services that are offered in each. So you can look at this at your leisure, but you can see that under Development and Inspectional Services, the divisions we have are animal control, various building permits, planning, economic development, and all the Board of Health. And as you can well imagine, our Board of Health has been extremely busy since March with COVID-19, and I want to give them all a great recognition and thank you for everything that they've done for this community. The Fire Rescue Department, again, the busiest year they've had with emergency calls, 3,793. There is a breakdown here of the different programs that are run in the Fire Rescue Department, as well as on the next slide, the Police Department. The calls for service in the Police Department were 21,676. And again, just a little bit of information here on some of the programs that the Police Department runs that many people may not be aware are being operated. Public Services. Public Services Department really consists of 4 different divisions: our library, our senior center, our Veterans Services Office, and Auburn Cable Television. So all of them have remained extremely busy, particularly through COVID-19. While we may not be open to the public, we are still providing every service that we have to provide to the public. Our Meals on Wheels program has gone from some 60 to well over 90 participants. That is still running through the senior center. We have online, as well as on Auburn Cable Television, programs for seniors to participate in as opposed to coming into the center. Same with the library. If you take a look at their website, they have 2 new websites and online interactive programs, one for adult and one for children. They're excellent programs. We encourage you and your families to participate in these. Our Department of Public Works has a number of different divisions and responsibilities: sewer maintenance, stormwater management, engineering, parks and cemeteries, recreation and culture, roadway resurfacing and reconstruction. Our Facility Management Division that has over $1 million in savings since its implementation. Our Fleet Maintenance that does all our vehicle maintenance, that saves about $70,000 to $80,000 annually. Street sweeping, our leaf and brush pile, and of course the Packagug Golf Course, operations management and maintenance. For communications and outreach, which, as you all know, has become extremely important, particularly in this time with COVID-19, to have a good, solid emergency management plan in place, which we do have several plans, as well as a solid communication strategy in place. We use a combination of social media, the Auburn account, which is our quarterly newsletter, our local radio, which is 1610 AM, all the different Code Red features, Auburn Guide, Auburn Cable TV, public service announcements, electronic billboards where we can put updates on it, school department email announcements, and our local media outlets. Our community events in the last year, again, this is the last year. This year is going to be different because of COVID-19, and many, if not Most of these may be canceled because of COVID-19. That remains to be seen how the governor's plan does roll out with regard to phases. But in the past year, we did have our Summer in the Park concert series, our new weekly farmers market that we tied into the concert series so that people could go to the farmers market and listen to a concert at the same time, and vice versa. And all of these events that you see here. We are doing our best, and we assure you we will hold these events if they are safe for the public to be held. I would tell you that a farmer's market is considered an essential service, so we are planning to hold a farmer's market, but we will have many restrictions on attending that farmer's market, as well as guidelines in place to protect the safety of those who are participating. Green initiatives. We continue to be very concerned and aggressive in our energy efficiency programs and measures. We are now in the 4th year of our Community Choice Power Program, which is also called Municipal Aggregation. We completed the 4th year, and we're in December we started our 5th year. We have been a green community since 2012, and because of that, we've been awarded almost $1 million in state grants to fund our energy efficiency projects. The LED project that I mentioned received a number of different grants and credits to enable us to procure and install new LED streetlights, and that installation was completed in early March. And we also transitioned our energy manager, who was our former planner, became our energy manager, who is now working 25 hours a week, fully focused on energy efficiency projects and initiatives, and then replaced his position with a full-time planner. Public policy and advocacy. Again, with COVID-19, it becomes very clear how important it is to have a good relationship with our state and federal officials and organizations, agencies, as well as elected and appointed officials. This is just a list of all of the different resources that we have available to us and that we participate in to advocate for or oppose, if necessary, legislation that may have an impact on the town of Auburn. Grantsmanship. I just want to mention, just in total, since 2011, town administration has applied for 274 grants, totaling $18.355 million in requests. Of those applications, we've received 241, so that's 241 out of 274, totaling $5.55 million. These grants provide emergency equipment, programs for seniors, planning assistance, green energy programs, police training equipment, library, public health, parks, playgrounds, code red, recycling, public safety programs, and much more. On the right-hand side, you can see a list of some of the grants that we received this year that were critical to our ongoing operations and the ability to provide programs and services to this community. We want to finish up here by saying that we value our strategic community partnerships. We make every effort to engage with our business community, both to assist them in their viability, and likewise, they want to assist the town to provide a quality of life for our residents. So we are able to leverage investment, increase our resources, provide programs to residents, enhance our services, create really positive community impacts, and strengthen the relationships between all the stakeholders in Auburn because of these strategic community partnerships. So in closing, I'd like to thank our town meeting members, our Board of Selectmen, School Committee, Finance Committee, the Auburn School Department, all of our Auburn boards, commissions, and committees, and the volunteers, our legislative delegation, volunteers on other aspects in the community, our business community, and last but absolutely not least, our town employees. And just a note to our town employees and our essential and first responders, public health, public safety, public works, all of you, all of the employees in Town Hall, thank you for everything you've done for us during COVID-19 since March. We hope to continue to provide a quality level of services to this community while keeping our employees safe and making sure that we have all the measures in place to keep our residents and the community at large safe. So thank you very much. Please be safe, and please take all health precautions that you can during the next few months as we continue to go through the COVID-19 crisis. Thank you.